developed a 12-man healing team.
Oh, great.
And I asked individuals to be a part of that. I asked all of my medical team and oncologists and radiologists, and then of course our prayer ministry in Spokane, and chaplains, and my wife is a chaplain at local hospital, and so all those chaplains at the hospital became a part of it, and friends and Facebook friends, and just a whole bunch of people said, we're going to be with you in this. And I attribute my healing to the support, the prayer support and encouragement I got, as well as medical science. I think that, whoever discovered this drug, more power to them. They certainly have benefited me and so many others. So
do you have like a particular healing prayer or healing affirmation that was very meaningful to you?
Yes, I do. There's a place where near where I live, where I go walking almost every day. It's called Hazel's Creek, and it's just a little park with a little creek running through it. And I go there, and there's a place where I sit and meditate and pray, and that's been part of my 12th man healing too. And there's a prayer Unity has had. Well, I learned that when I was 6 years old back in Toronto. And it's called the Prayer of Faith. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed, etc., etc. And I used to speak it back then when I was very afraid and going to the dentist or going for a test or something like that. I always used this prayer. So I've used that. Another one, another affirmation, a couple of them that I've used. One year at Christmas at the church, in my Christmas stocking, I got a little metal heart. And on one side it said, every cell in my body, every cell is filled with love. And on the other side it said, joy expresses through every cell in my body. I have that little tab, and I come to find out that Karen Drucker had written a song around that, and I wrote to her and said, I've been using this little prayer, and she was thrilled, and she sent me about 12 of her albums and said, I'm on your 12th man team now. So I have used joy fills every cell of my body, love is in every cell. And that very simple prayer has been very powerful to me.
Isn't that great? Karen is a friend of Unity Spiritual Center, and this year she's done something really special for us. She is coming out quarterly to help us celebrate the change of the season. So we've had 2, what we're calling them seasonal celebrations, and they're beautiful services on a Wednesday night where we dim the lights. She sings, we can chant, there's a ritual involved. They've been really lovely. So yeah, we love Karen too.
She's a super sweet lady,
She
wonderful,
sure is.
very talented.
So David, I want to go backwards and ask you about 2 people in particular.
Okay.
One is James Dillett Freeman, and for those who don't know, James Dillett Freeman is the author of the prayer that we say at the end of every service, the prayer of protection. So he really has always been considered the poet laureate of Unity, if there is one. Quite a character, but he sounded maybe like he was a little bit acerbic, or at least a little bit gruff with you. Tell us about how you experienced, this Unity notable, James Dillett Freeman.
Well, something I said during my acceptance speech for the Fillmore Award was that Jim Freeman was probably one of the most influential people I have in my life. Joy fills every cell of my body, love, ministry. Back then they didn't have quite in every cell. A big faculty. In fact, there were like 3 people who were
That-
teaching
that
ministerial training
very
at that
simple
time,
prayer
so
has been very powerful.
Jim
to me.
Freeman taught
That
maybe
great.
4
Karen is our
classes
friend
that we
of
had, and we used to
Unity
say,
Spiritual
well, we're having
Center,
Jim Freeman
and
101
this year
and Jim Freeman
she's done something
102.
really special for us.
But,
she is coming
his-
out quarterly
He
to help
was,
us
of
celebrate
course,
the
a
change
great
of the
inspiration
season.
to so
So
many
we've had
people,
2
and,
what we're
we
calling
got
them
to sit
seasonal
and just
celebrations.
sit at his
and
feet
they're
almost
beautiful
literally and
services on a
hear him
Wednesday night where
expound
we
on
dim
these
the
beautiful
lights.
spiritual ideas. And,
She sings.
so
we can
I've-
chant.
I've always-
There's a
and
ritual
I lived in-
involved.
he had a cottage behind
they've
his
been
house,
really
and I
lovely.
lived
so,
in the cottage
we
for a
love
while
Karen
when I was
too.
in
She's a
ministerial
super
school,
sweet
and,
lady.
She
wonderful. I
sure
got
is.
to
Very
go in and
talented.
have fireside chats
So, David,
with
I
this
want to go
man,
backwards and ask
his
you
wife
about
would
2
cook dinner,
people in
and, it was
particular.
fantastic.
One is
but
James
he was
Dillett
also my
Freeman, and
greatest
for those
nemesis,
who don't know,
not only
James
from that,
Dillett Freeman is
initial
the author
challenge
of
of
the
sending
prayer
me
that we
home
say at
and
the
saying,
end of
"You're
every
not ready
service,
for
the prayer of
ministry."
protection. So he really has always been considered
would,
the poet
be very
laureate of
critical of
Unity,
some
if
of
there
the
is
papers that are
one.
handed
Quite a
in,
character,
and
but he
you could do
sounded
better
maybe like
than
he was a
this,
little
David.
bit
You-
acerbic, or
you
at
need
least
to
a
go
little
back and
bit
do it
gruff with
again.
you. Tell us about how
I
you
remember
experienced
one
this
time I was
Unity
give a talk
notable.
in
James Dillett
silent
Freeman.
unity, and
Well,
all the ministers had to- something I
give a
said
talk to
during
them,
my
and
acceptance speech or word was that
Generally,
generally
we
we gave the talk to Jim
And you're
Freeman,
probably
probably one
one
of
of
the most
now, so
influential people.
well,
I
you
have
need to do
used
this.
this. Joy fills
Takes
every
the
cell
ring
of
out
my
of it,
body.
and
The
then
next
the
week
week,
ministry.
back
Back then
with
they
the
did
good
talk
talk.
in every cell.
well,
faculty. In fact, there were like
and
for some
30
reason
people
he who
that-
were teaching. He didn't
that
see me
training
until
very
the day
simple
I was
prayer
supposed
has
to give this
been
talk.
very
But
powerful.
Jim
Looked at
Freeman taught
what I'd
Great.
done.
I gave the talk
Karen is
in
our
classes
friend
that we
of
had.
He said, "This is the worst
Unity
talk I've ever
Spiritual
heard."
Center,
Jim Freeman
and this
101,
year
Jim Freeman
she's done
102.
something
And-
really special for us.
But
terrible.
She is coming
his
out
terrified look on my
quarterly
face
to help
was,
us
of
celebrate
course,
the
a
change
great
of the season.
inspiration to
So
so
we've
many
had
people.
2
And
what we're
we
calling
got
them
to
seasonal
talk about
celebrations,
15 minutes.
and they're
Almost
beautiful
literally.
services
And you
on
just
a
hear 'em
Wednesday
rip
night.
down.
We
It's
dim the
beautiful.
lights.
Spiritual ideas.
Oh, he
she
really
sings,
apologized
So
we
that.
chant,
I've always,
there's a
but
ritual
then I lived,
involved.
he had a cottage
We
behind
say
his
they're
house,
really
and I
lovely.
lived
So,
in a cottage
we
for a
love
while
Karen
when I was
too.
He had this
old way
so I
of
got to go in and have fireside chats.
So, David,
with
I want to go
him and
backwards
just
and ask
prod
you about
of me
2
cooking
people
dinner
in
and
particular.
fantastic.
One is
but
James
he was
Dillett
also my
Freeman.
greatest
For those
nemesis
who don't
during-
know,
not only
James
from that
Dillett Freeman
initial-
is and the second person I want to be sure and ask you about is Ethel Higgins. Ethel Higgins is the person who founded our church in 1946, and David took over. He was the first minister to take over from our founder, and so you may be the only person, who has that kind of recollection, who's still attending our church. Tell us about Ethel Higgins. What was she like?
Well, Ethel was one of the most centered, calm, inspiring individuals that I ever had the pleasure of meeting. When I came to try out here in San Francisco, she met me at the airport. Of course, the challenge when she had said that she was going to retire and that they were going to select a new minister. The challenge, especially for someone she started in 1946, and this is in 1970, is saying you're going to release the church is one thing, but being able to do so graciously for someone that's going to still be around and being active is very difficult. But she was always one who she would sit in the back of the church when I finally accepted. She would sit in the back of the church, and she was there, and people knew her, and people loved her, and people still honored her in so many ways. But she always gave me the energy and the support and the credit to say, this is your church, and whatever you want to do. She never meddled or came back and said, well, we used to always do it this way. She was never that way. She was always gracious and praiseworthy. And through the line after the service, she would always give praise and encouragement to whatever I said in any way that she could help. She was there, and if anyone said, well, we wish Ethel was still here, she would take that person aside and give them a good talking to, and introduce the church. And I was the minister. So I always felt her complete support. The church, when I arrived here, was in good hands. It was financially sound. It was in good shape physically, the building. And she had really done a magnificent job of bringing this ministry forward. So I always appreciate it.
And having experienced this church, this congregation in the 70s, is there something, and given that you served so many congregations, was there something about this church in particular, like some quality that made it special in your eyes? When you think about us, when you think about San Francisco, what comes to mind in terms of a quality or characteristic?
Well, I've always felt about San Francisco that it is a place of high energy and vitality. It's a vital, enthusiastic, happening place. And back in the 70s, of course, it was just at the end of Pete Asbury time and the Flower Children and that sort of thing. And when I arrived, I had lots of hair and beard, so I fit right into that kind of situation. But the church was a microcosm of that. There was high energy and vitality. The people were excited about their lives and how they could be involved in the community. The congregation, of course, in Bethel had been primarily elderly congregation at that time, and started to attract, there weren't millennials, before the millennials, Gen X or even I'm not sure. Anyway, I was from the group is called Baby Boomers. Thank you, the Baby Boomers. Yeah, well, it was younger than the Baby Boomers started to show up here, and of course we had all kinds of. We had concerts up here with people, Flower Children playing zitars and doing interesting spiritual dances, incense, all kinds of things. I think the thing that I remember most about this church was the laughter. This place was filled with laughter. Not that I was particularly that funny, but it seemed like that when people were meeting and talking and even sharing in the service, there was a lot of laughter in this place. So it's a high energy, fun place to be. I always look forward to driving from home. We just live down by the ocean down here off of Sloat, and driving up here part of this church.
Kind of a bigger, maybe weightier question. You've been a Unity minister for many decades now. You've held the highest leadership position in the Unity Worldwide Ministries. Tell us where you think Unity is going as a movement, and how might we, the spiritual community, help shepherd that movement. But, having just come back from the convention, spend time with David and his wife, I want to hear what you're thinking about where Unity will go.
Well, I think Unity, like so many religions and churches, movement is at a crossroads right now. The baby boomers are also known as the done it generation, which means I'm done with church. I'm not going to do that anymore. And so a lot of them are finished with church or finding reasons to go to church. Then, of course, the millennials might come if there are programs and services and music. And there's a term that I think is exciting a lot of people right now about almost be called edutainment, which means education, but also I come to be entertained. Because I've got, the technology right now, television and whatever else to entertain me, and my attention level is short now, so you've got to catch me while the catching's good, otherwise I'm on to the next thing and I'm out of your focus. So I think Unity is addressing those things. I think it's moving very much into the technological age, not only with screens of this type, but videos and new forms of music. It's also, I think, working towards finding out how it can be more relevant in the lives of people. It has always been relevant in my life because it's very practical. But putting the pulse on what's the typical person going through in their lives right now and how can I address them. A lot of energy is being put into that, coming up with new programs. There were several programs at the convention that were addressing particular things. Just being sure that there's still a relevancy to the spiritual message and putting it in the language for 2016 with all that's going on in the world right now, especially the relevancy of that. So I think that's important. I think that, as I mentioned to you before we started about small groups, I think that's not a new thing. I was doing small groups 50 years ago. But I think all great movements started with small groups. And people in a small group who trust one another, who understand one another, who believe in one another, can do mighty things. So when Unity started with Charles Burrow Fillmore in their kitchen, a small group, and praying together. And so any seeds of that kind, I think, can sprout. The groups now have to be tied into spiritual purpose and spiritual meaning, and have a sense of what it is they would like to do in the world and discovering their talents. That's what I'm going to be talking about in my workshop this afternoon. Who did I come here to be? And I think people are still asking that question. What are my talents? What are my skills? And how can I best use those in service to my church community and to the world? And if I can find out some answers around that, then I have a sense of direction in my life, and the church can shepherd me and guide me, finding that place. That's kind of what I'm seeing taking place in the community right now.
We found out, thanks to Brandon, that we're actually a Pokemon Go stop. So I said, we want to be the stop where they come in at 11 o'clock and have to stay for an hour before they could get their Pokemon. But Brandon, I was going to ask you, are we like a gym? I've read just enough to know there's a gym and there are trainers and we're just a stop, right? Okay, thank you. So we sure appreciate Brandon letting us know a way we could attract millennials. But we'll keep working on
At least
it.
they can maybe get a prize if they stop.
That's
here.
right. Exactly. Exactly. So, tell us a little bit more about your workshop, about that idea you were just ending on, because the title of your workshop is "Who Have You Come Here to Be?" So maybe tell us a little bit about your personal journey in learning who you came here to be.
Well, of course, initially I got that message, that voice that said, well, here's what you came here to be. You're going to be a unity minister, and that's going to be your thing. So I had a really clear sense of direction. The next thing I figured out is, do I have the skills and the talents and gifts to fulfill that destiny? And so what we're going to be talking about today is who you came here to be is your true self. This is the self that, it's not necessarily your job or your role in life. It's the particular equipment that you came to planet Earth with. Spiritual resources, talents, gifts. And some people know what those are and have a clear sense of that, but a lot of people do not know. I'm just here, I'm filling in time, I'm watching TV, and I'm going to bed and getting up the next morning, and I don't have any sense of direction. So that's finding your true self, finding the self that underneath everything else is urging you and expressing through you to be a certain individual. And then the second part of that is knowing what I've come here to be. What have I come here to do with what I am? And that's where it goes into expression in terms of how can I best use these talents and skills to serve my family, my job, church community, and planet Earth. How can I get involved? Because there's no sense finding out who you came here to be if you're not utilizing those skills and talents in effective ways. And that's where you can best serve, and that's what gives you the most enthusiasm and confidence and happiness. And you can make a living out of it too, financially, if you are in a place where your skills and talents are being used in the most effective way. So, and then part of that also is the journey that you have been on. My journey has led me, I realized that I had some of the natural skills, others I needed to learn and develop. In college, when I got that message that I was going to be a minister, I was in radio and television at that time. That was my radio and television arts was my major in college. So I was already into public speaking. I was already into being okay in front of a group of people and expressing myself. So I had that down, but I had to learn to type. I had to learn to organize ideas. I needed to learn to sit down and be a good listener in terms of ministerial counseling skills. That was something that I really had to develop and learn. But if I'm open to that, some exciting doors get open for the individual, and I've always felt that where my talents and the needs of the world meet, that's where I'm supposed to be. Whether it takes me to Canada or Australia or San Francisco, I'm here on purpose. I'm here because it's a divine appointment. It's a God job that is taking place. I think that if it's true for me, it's got to be true for everybody else. we can find we can have our cake and eat it too. We can do what we love to do, we can make a living from it, and we can feel fulfilled and complete in it, and we can benefit other people, because as much as you like to do what you like to do, there are people out there who like you to do what you like to do, and it benefits them. So their need, their talent. That's what we're going to talk about this afternoon. A little more.
Definitely. And I hear that I read that you're working on a book right now. So tell us about your book.
I am, and I'll be mentioning more about that in my message at 11. The title of the book is "But Wait, There's More." And of course, most of us know that particular phrase from infomercials that we watch on TV, where they're trying to sell you Ginsu knives for $19.95. They go through the whole spiel on that, how they can cut everything, and it's fantastic. But then at the end of that, they'll say, "But wait, there's more." And then you get a second set of knives, shipping and handling, and you get a case to put your knives in, or something else. And so there's always that added bonus. Well, my book is essentially about not giving up too soon, but waiting and realizing that the universe has more to offer us. My current name for God is the universal field of unlimited possibility. And I've learned in many ways the hard way to not throw in the towel quite so soon, especially with my cancer situation. All my affairs in order, and was planning on checking out. But the universe said, "But wait, there's more." And so I have learned the hard way to allow the universe to continue to flow in and through my life. So the book is basically stories. I will tell several of them this morning about how I've done that and how each of us can be a little more patient with the universe and trust the universe a little more to resolve issues and challenges in our lives and bring about some major new developments. Stay tuned, there's more.
So I want to ask you a question related to what you just said, your new name for God. I was talking a couple of weeks ago, and I asked the audience, I asked the congregation if their conception of God had changed through the years, of the divine universe. And everybody's had, except one person. One person raised their hand, and she was the one who attended this church as a child. So she'd been with Unity at the beginning. You've been with Unity since the age of 6. So I want to ask you the same question. Given that you had this wonderful, expansive definition of God from the beginning of your learning years, has your conception of God changed or evolved? Or tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey.
Excuse me, it reminds me of a story of a Sunday school class that had been studying the Old Testament, and the children had been learning all of the aspects of the Old Testament. Then they started on the New Testament. And after a few weeks of that, one of the kids put up his hand and said, "Boy, God sure got better as he got older, didn't he?" And so I think our God thought, our God concept does go through a major overhaul, or it should, as we get deeper into the experience. I think I was only 6 when I started in Unity, so I didn't have very much to unlearn in terms of having a man in the sky with a white beard concept of God. I was pretty much especially starting out with the prayer of faith, into the idea that God was a universal principle within me and all around me, and had access to that. I think over the years, that has deepened to the place where, Charles Fillmore used to say we would go to headquarters to find God. And he meant that he would go within and go to a place where he recognized and felt the presence of God within him. And I think that for me, that's become the refining experiences that, especially when I'm walking under Hazel's tree, I have the experience of feeling that presence, that I'm at headquarters, that I'm in the presence. I don't have to be at Hazel's tree. I can be right here and right now in the presence. But it's a first-hand and immediate experience of the presence of God. I think that's what unity has been all about all those years. It's teaching people that they don't have to kneel down, they don't have to go to a particular geographical location or building or a certain religion in order to experience God. Right where they are, and they can just let go of everything else. And as we say in Spokane Church, we use that affirmation, one presence and one power for God to do it. Well, if God is all there is that's going on, then I must be a child of God, and I must be a part of that. I simply have to know that for myself and experience it. So that's been the evolution.
So I've just got two quick questions before I open it up to questions from the audience. And one is, I heard an interesting talk by Phil Pearson, who basically was giving a history of the Association of Unity Churches. Phil Pearson is a Unity minister in Sacramento. And he was saying, he was looking at this trajectory of Unity history. He said, when Charles and Myrtle were first starting this movement, Jesus was very much a part of the writings, the references, and that through the years that sort of dissipated a little bit, reaching a peak where, sometimes you would go into a Unity church, never hear Jesus referred to. Now there's kind of a lot of discussion about what part Jesus should play in unity when we are an inclusive denomination that honors all paths to God. Any thoughts about Jesus, David?
Yeah, well, I think the religion of Jesus, think about that, was that he was all-inclusive and honored all paths to God. So I think that following Jesus is following that particular spiritual path, but I think in my acceptance speech again for my word, I was giving credit to teachers and people that have been influential in my life. And Jesus was right up there in terms of being the one who inspired and continues to inspire me. And I have no qualms about mentioning his teachings and what he means. He is certainly the model, the example that we're all trying to reach for. But since he does honor all paths to God, I think that the ministry can also honor all paths to God. And I think that for me, part of my evolution too has been to take a longer, stronger look at Eastern thought in terms of Buddhism and some of the other Eastern disciplines, especially with the idea of getting myself out of the way, allowing things to be the way they are. Not trying to shift things or change things. I think unity for a period of time is very much into, well, if you just think these thoughts, this is going to happen in your life. It was very much around demonstrating some manifestation in your life. That's still a valid principle, but I think that for me more being still and being silent, just letting things flow as they are. And not reacting to them or trying to make them something else, trying to manipulate or shift things in a certain way. I think that that aspect of unity, and I certainly am a student of Course in Miracles too, and that's very strong. I think I'm much more at peace within myself now, and letting it, the Oriental phrase "so," which simply means, oh, so that's the way it is, and not trying to characterize it, not trying to manipulate it, not trying to change it so much, but asking, what am I supposed to learn from this experience, and why is this in my life? These are questions that I think are more relevant community.
So last question, if you could distill all your experience, all your wisdom, if you could give people just one single message, one sentence, what would it be?
Oh boy. Now for a minister to get one single sentence, that's pretty hard. Hi. You guys look familiar. Yeah.
Wow, were you here when David was here? Wow.
Whoa.
Fantastic. And I know Leola was.
This is awesome. And you were there too. I know you. I think I know you. Well, one sentence. I think that I would say that when you say yes to the Spirit within you, the Spirit within you is and so there is an agreement, there is a bond that is formed. So yes.
Beautiful. So I want to open it up to any questions. We have just a few minutes, but if there's something you'd like to ask Reverend David, here's your chance. Tell you.
Well, that's a really good question. I'm certain that in my youthful enthusiasm, I knew I was going to be a unity minister. The question was when, and I thought it was right now. And Jim Freeman said to me, "It's not quite right now. There's still some steps that you might want to consider taking." To prepare yourself for this. And that truly, I think, was my subconscious also saying, there's more for you to uncover about yourself so that when you do finally come to the minister, that you'll be better prepared and better, more mature, and have more of your ducks in a row. So, as disappointed as I was taking that long bus ride home from Missouri to Toronto, feeling, I thought I was going to be a shoo-in, for the ministry, I realized in retrospect that it was the very best thing that could happen to me. And that's a phrase that I come to know too. It's the worst best thing that could ever happen. So, it's good. Well, I'm supposedly retired ministry. I'm minister emeritus at the Community Spiritual Center, interesting, same name, in Spokane, Washington. And the man who and his wife, who are the ministers there now, senior ministers, Gary Simmons is the co-minister there. Gary came out of this church. He was here. His father-in-law was the president of the board in this church when I came, when Uncle Higgins was retiring. And Gary served on the board in this church, Gary Simmons. And then eventually, from his time here and in classes and being part of our program here, he decided to go into ministry himself. And he's been a minister now for probably 4 years, 4 years. This church has a great heritage to it for sprouting ministers.
So we'll end with Abby. Quick question.
Well, I know for me, part of my ministry now, my ministry is Facebook.
He's so great on Facebook too. You want to friend him. He's always putting out something that's uplifting or funny or wonderful.
And I have, right now, I have about 1,500 Facebook friends, and I would estimate that quarters of them are millennials. And they're still looking for inspiration. They don't necessarily want to attach to a church or a religion or an organization, but something that gets them through the day, something that is quick and is powerful and is punchy and has people attached to it. That they can take and utilize to start their day, to go to work or to be in a relationship with someone or healing their health. And so certainly the social media, and I know there's a lot of negatives around social media, a lot of, pardon the expression, crap on there as well. But I think that's, for me, it's a way of reaching them. You have to let go of attachment to these people and just allow them to be and not to be, to friend you or unfriend you or go where they need to go and do what they need to do. And they may not be attached to any particular church. Certainly we'd encourage them to go to the local unity church. But they're just we're all on a spiritual journey. And regardless of our age, regardless of our background, we're walking this path together. And companion these people is really fantastic. And I'm inspired by some of the things they put out too.
So we are going to wrap up. I know we could sit here having a wonderful conversation with you all day, but we're going to experience David in a different way. We'll start the service a little bit later, about 11:05, to give you a chance to breathe, take a break. But David will be giving the lesson today, and then we'll be offering a workshop starting at 1 o'clock called Who Have You Come Here to Be? Which will help us to discover those things as well as our spiritual gifts. So a lot more opportunities to experience David coming right up. But in the meantime, let's give him warm applause for starting our morning off this way.